Hello and welcome to the program which looks at the Holy Land. I am Paul Calvert. Psalm 91 verse 1 and 2 from the New King James Bible says this: In you, O Lord, I put my trust. Let me never be put to shame. Deliver me in your righteousness and cause me to escape. Incline your ear to me and save me. I'm with Natalie Sopinsky from Rescuers Without Borders. Now, Natalie, what is Rescuers Without Borders?
Rescuers Without Borders is a volunteer group of volunteer medics, and first responders throughout Israel, throughout the land of Israel.
And when were you started and why were you started?
We started in 2001 because the main medical group, MADA, Magen David Adom, was very, very slow and reluctant to come out to Yehuda and Shomron, the West Bank areas. They would not come when called. It took a long, long time. And our security officers and our security forces out there saw victims who were injured and nobody was treating them. So they actually decided to learn first aid, and that's how it was formed. They became medics.
So is Rescuers Without Borders an Israeli organization?
Yes, it's Israeli.
Yeah. And is everybody that works with you volunteer?
Everybody's volunteer.
So who do you have working with you? What sort of people?
Mommies and daddies, normal people. They have normal jobs, builders, teachers, accountants, laborers. Some people don't have jobs. These people are volunteers. They do this on the side.
And what do they do here in the land specifically?
They respond to calls. We work together with Magen David Adom and the IDF. And when there are car accidents, a lot of car accidents on the road, terror attacks, people having babies, men having heart attacks, these type of medical incidents, people call for help. They call the Moked, which is a 4-digit call center, kind of similar to 911 in other places. And we are on that, we're in that communication network. We are out in the areas, Beit Lechem, Efrat, Gush Etzion, all places people call the West Bank, all those areas north of Jerusalem, south of Jerusalem. Those are not the cities. Those are like peripheral villages and settlements. And that's where we live and that's where we respond.
Of course, Etzion, Gush Etzion, that area, there's quite a lot of terrorist attacks in that area, isn't there?
That's right. That's right. There are.
So you're saving people's lives?
We're saving people's lives. Yeah. We get there first. We get there fast because we live there. We're not in some station in Tel Aviv or a station in Jerusalem. We're living there. So as soon as they get the call, whoever's closest can actually get there by foot. They run to the scene. They get there and treat the victim and get them stable and then wait with them till the ambulance comes from the city.
When there's a disaster that happens around the world, do you respond to that as well?
We respond to disasters around the world. I have a whole list here of different disasters we responded to. Most recently, the Surfside collapse of the towers in Miami we went to, but we've gone to Sri Lanka, we've gone to Turkey, Nepal, Haiti, Mali, a long list of places, Thailand. We send teams to those disasters and we actually train others there. So then when the next disaster happens, we have a trained team there on the ground.
Now, you've just already said that you're in Miami. Are you still in Miami at the moment looking for bodies?
No, they came back. Came back.
How quickly were you able to actually get out and respond to that?
We got there 2 days after, I believe. We got there, I think, the second or third day. Very fast, very fast. We don't need permission from the government. We're a private organization.
How was it for the people that were there looking for these people that have been buried underground?
It was a horrible situation. From what I understand from our rescuers telling me, they put all the families in a hotel lobby, and while the community was helpful with food and basic needs, there was nobody talking to them. They were sitting there alone, with no news. So our rescuers actually were very helpful with that. They are trained in post-trauma support, and they actually spoke with them and held their hand and prayed with them and brought them news from the field. And they told me they were very surprised. Nobody else was there. Nobody else in uniform was there. Those people were sitting there alone.
It's giving encouragement at a very difficult time, isn't it?
Yeah, hope and just, sometimes I guess anybody can understand this. When you experience a loss in a family, it's sometimes very, very helpful to have a third party come in, someone who you don't know, and then you can actually open up. You don't have to worry about anything else. You can feel free with that third party, and I think that's where our rescuers really were helpful.
How do you decide where to respond to around the world?
That's a good question. I don't know. We respond to the disasters, and I guess where we are allowed to go and where we're quick to realize we can be helpful, if we can be helpful. And we have this training. We actually do training in, people buried under rubble, collapsed buildings. We've done that before. So they know how to handle things like that.
Are your volunteers all highly trained professionals?
They're highly trained with medical first response emergency and search and rescue, yeah.
And from what walks of life do they come from?
All kinds. I mean, like I told you before, we have teachers, we have accountants, we have builders, we have older people, younger people, men, women, religious, not religious, Arab, Jew, all kinds. It's amazing. I also used to think, what is driving them? Why would anybody want to risk their life and leave in the middle of the night to help some, person who was injured on the road? And they all have a different reason. Sometimes a family member was injured. Sometimes they themselves were saved. They have, different motivations, but they're very, very noble.
Have you personally been able to go out as part of a rescue team?
No, but I was a victim twice. I had a baby, and they helped me in the middle of the night, and my husband had a heart situation, and they came to help us. I've been on the receiving end.
So you've seen the goodness that they bring, and you want to give back as well?
Yeah, these are the people you want to help you when you're vulnerable. These are people who they know what to do. They're very professional, but they're warm. They're human. I see them at the grocery store with their children. These are people who live among us. They're not aesthetic.
Now, I imagine in all the devastation and tragedy, there's joy and there's hope. Maybe someone's been rescued. Do you have any stories of people rescued, or maybe at the last moment, or everybody thought everyone was dead?
Yeah, I have a very interesting story near me. A man had a heart attack in his community, and a rescuer was actually at the store, 50 meters away, and he rescued him. He saved him. And the middle of the day, and nobody's really around. Pretty amazing, because it was an older rescuer. There are tons of stories like that. There's just tons of stories like that of rescue. Tons. Now,
we just had the Gaza war just recently. Were you responding to the rockets, particularly coming from the Gaza Strip in the southern part of Israel?
Yeah, we had people go down there. We had a team go down there. That's really difficult. They had to actually get special helmets and special vests, because the mortars were coming down actually when they were there helping people. They had to lie on the ground. When they had people, they had to put we have an armadillo, a ballistic blanket they had to use as a shield. They told me, the people were so scared. The ambulances were just constantly driving around and around and around. And the older people who live alone, they were very frightened, very frightened. Our rescuers attended to whoever they could. It was a big job.
What's it like when a rocket comes in the south?
People lose control. They pee their pants, they faint, they shake. The mothers cover their babies with their own body. Not everybody has the mind to lie down and to go to the shelter. They panic. They do panic. Down there along the Gaza border, they don't panic, but what they do have is post-trauma. And the children there, and the adults too. They don't function the way normal children function. Like, they regress. They start acting babyish. They want to be with their mommy all the time. They won't be anywhere alone. They won't let the door be locked. They wet their bed. We have a shelter. We built a shelter there with an oxygen tank and a big playroom, so the children could be there a long, long time. And that's good for them, but that the parents are alone. So the parents have their own problems. It's scary. I was in an attack years ago, and I couldn't get my baby out of the high chair because I was shaking. It is frightening. It is frightening.
Now, there's rockets sort of coming in all the time in the south, and not always the BBC and Sky News pick that up. It can happen quite a lot. So did the people down there get used to it?
They get used to it in that they live close to shelters, and they have a reinforced room in their house. And I don't know, do you ever get used to it? It's something they are used to it. They're not happy with it, and it's like, here it goes again. Yeah, it's hard to talk about to them. They're children. We have a horse farm down there, a horse therapy farm, to help them with that, and I think that helps them. But it's not something they should get used to. For instance, the balloons, they send over these balloon bombs, and children there are afraid of balloons. Children should not be afraid of balloons. Balloons should be happy birthday parties. They're afraid. They've learned to be afraid, just like, you're right, when they hear a siren, any siren, they think it's dangerous, any siren.
Does the horse farm bring therapy to the children?
The horse farm is a therapy farm. Yeah, it's one-on-one, post-trauma therapy. These kids, I think it's used for lots of therapy. It creates a special bond that they can open up around an animal where they wouldn't be able to talk to their mother.
That must be nice for them, just to be able to go and see an animal and let it heal them in that sense.
Yeah, it's amazing. It works. It really works.
Which countries around the world do you work in?
I told you a few. I'll tell you some more. I have a list because there's too many to remember. I can tell you that we've set up 14 stations around the world. Mozambique is one, Nigeria, the Philippines, Jordan, Thailand, I mentioned, Nepal, Haiti, Greece, Sri Lanka, Turkey, a lot of places. And we've trained places. We've trained teams in some of these places too. Also, it didn't say there, but we've been to Ethiopia. Yeah.
Why do you do what you do?
Well, I'm just one person, okay? I believe that this is very important work, but I'm not out there like the rescuers. They are very special people, and I was saved by them. They helped me, and I know if it hadn't been for them, I don't know what would have happened. So these kind of people need support, and I'm out there. I'm their English mouthpiece, I'm their English spokesperson, and they're very humble. They shouldn't be, but they are. And
did they sometimes need counseling themselves after some of the things that they've seen?
Yeah, interesting question. They do. Meron, there was a stampede, they say, in Meron at Lag BaOmer, and our rescuers from around the country were called there to help. And afterwards, like 3 days later, we took our team back up there for post-trauma and to light candles and to walk through the place. And we brought a counselor and a rabbi, and they were, I didn't understand, but they explained to me that the presence of so much death in one place and having the bodies of these people laid out in front of them, people they couldn't save. They could not save them. They tried. It was so traumatic. They couldn't get over it. It wasn't like when you're buried under rubble, you don't see those people. These people they saw. And they tried to save them, and they just weren't successful.
What's your prayer for the future of the organization?
I think they need to get a lot more recognition and a lot more support. We do not have, for instance, a big American following, and we don't spend our resources on public relations, on anything like that, on PR, on commercials. All our money goes to equipment and training, and we need more support so we can get the word out there, so we can continue our work. And all the time, older medics are retiring and younger medics are being trained, and they need equipment. They need good equipment, and we need to just keep building and keep getting the word out there so we get more support.
What's your website for people who'd like to know more?
It's www.hatzalah.org.il. Hatzalah means rescue, so it's HATZALAH.org.il.
Okay, Natalie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Pray that God will move by his mighty power in the Holy Land and bring his peace.